Well, there's no mistaking who's singing that lead vocal. That song is like the Mount Rushmore of pop music. The Beach Boys with California Girls, and Beach Boy Mike Love joins us right now. I hope, anyway. Can you hear me, Mike?
I hear you great. I hope my voice is coming across clear enough for you.
Yeah, we got you loud and clear. Well, we are so thrilled to have Beach Boy Mike Love join us today on the Vintage Rock and Pop Shop. The Beach Boys will be performing at Provident Bank Park in Ramapo, New York on August 14th, as well as many dates up and down the East Coast. And Mike, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot for having me on the program.
Well, I'll tell you, this is our big Beach Boys bash because you guys are playing in our area, and also the Made in California box set coming out later this month.
Not to mention it's summertime and it's Beach Boy weather, and
yeah.
We're looking forward to coming to Ramapo. And you know, after Ramapo, we're heading up to the northeast over to the Boston area, Hyannis and Cohasset, and then we go on up to Toronto and up to Quebec, and then back down to Pennsylvania. And we're on our endless summer surfing safari this summer, that's for sure.
It is. Now, in addition to you and Bruce and the great John Cowsill and Scott Totten, you've also got, I believe, your son joining you. Is that correct?
Yeah, my son Christian plays rhythm guitar and sings with us. He's got a fantastic voice, and he sounds really great on the parts of the songs like Good Vibrations and Kokomo, the parts that my cousin Carl sang. You know, Carl passed away just about 15 years ago, and so Christian sounds beautiful on those parts, and good-looking guy, and Mr. Beach volleyball star. He won a volleyball competition a couple of weeks ago back in Santa Barbara, California, which is where he's grown up and spent all his life, actually.
Well, that's great. I will say, when it comes to all the Beach Boys children, the apples haven't fallen far from the tree. Everybody's really talented.
Yeah, that's true. They did the neat thing about last year when we did that 50th anniversary tour. There were a couple of shows where we had a group of all the children. Well, not all of them, but a substantial amount of children, like Carney and Wendy Wilson, you know, Brian's daughters, and then my daughter Amba, who was 16 at the time, and her brother Christian, who sings with us, and then Alan Jardine's son Matthew and Adam, and then Carl Wilson's son Justin, and then Dennis Wilson's son as well. So there was quite the representation of progeny.
Yeah, that's true.
It sounded great. They all sang beautifully, harmonized fantastically. It was really, really wonderful for us to see them and hear them perform. I mean, my cousin Brian and I would sit at the side of the stage and listen to them, and we were all really, you know, proud dads.
I can imagine. You know, I'd like to do something a little unusual with you and talk about some of the lyrics you wrote for Beach Boy songs, because most people think of you primarily as the group's frontman and lyricist. So these songs are classics, and I apologize ahead of time if you've talked about these songs a million times over. But one would be Fun, Fun, Fun.
Sure. We used to do 3 shows a year at a place called the Lagoon, which is a theme park outside of Salt Lake City, Utah. We even did a song called Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
We were so popular there during the early to mid-'60s. Well, one time as we were leaving Salt Lake, my cousin Brian and I shared a taxi, and I told him, Brian, we got to do a song about a girl who borrows her dad's car. And told him, you know, it's got to start with like a Chuck Berry-style guitar intro. And so I came up with the story, and then he did the tracking, and came up with that fantastic falsetto part at the end. But yeah, came up with the concept, wrote all the lyrics, and Brian did the tracking of the instrumentation and came up with, you know, beautiful falsetto part at the end of the song. And so, yeah, it was one of those collaborations with cousin Brian back in, well, what was it 1963, I guess.
Yeah. Just heard the Beach Boys with Fun, Fun, Fun right here on the Vintage Rock and Pop Shop. Mike Love is our guest today. And, a lot of those early songs are kind of story songs in a way. There was a beginning, middle, and end to the lyric of Fun, Fun, Fun.
Yeah, there is. And that's patterned after, it's kind of the storytelling that Chuck Berry did with so many of his songs, That was a big influence on me in terms of the way he formed those phrases and those words, and, catchy guitar parts.
Sure.
And just those little vignettes, the descriptions of what was going on, and it keeps the mind engaged. It keeps you interested in that little story, and you can identify with it, because what kid, when they got their driver's license or their learner's permit, didn't want to borrow the parents' car?
Yeah.
Everyone, millions of people on their way through life have done that, or had to keep a weather eye out for what the kids are doing with the car, And sometimes you're grounded, you can't use it. Well, even in the song "Summertime Blues," you can't use a car because you didn't work a lick.
Right.
So we're not the only ones that deal with that concept. But "Fun, Fun, Fun" was really I think that moment when Cousin Brian goes into that falsetto part at the end is one of the great moments in rock music, in terms of that, if you're going to cruise to something.
Sure.
That's a great song,
Now, another one I picked out is "Good Vibrations," which has an entirely different kind of lyric.
Oh, absolutely. Well, that was during the time period where there was all the psychedelic music going on. It was a lot of interesting and unusual things were going on in music. And in society as well. There's a lot of stuff going on back in '66, and so Brian came up with this amazing track, very unique sounding, with the theremin. That's the sound that you hear, and it's so unusual, and on the cello and theremin and great chord progression. It was really unique arrangement. And I wrote basically a poem to go with it, and I came up with the line, "I'm picking up good vibrations, she's giving me the excitations." So I came up with all the lyrics for what became a #1 single, the biggest hit we ever had in the '60s.
Sure.
Eclipsed only by Kokomo 22 years later, in 1988. Kokomo went to #1. They say that's the most successful single ever. But for its time, "Good Vibrations" was so unique and so avant-garde. It was so brilliant, And I was really, proud to have collaborated on that song with Cousin Brian again.
I love the colorful push.
We're talking with Mike Love of the Beach Boys today on the Vintage Rock and Pop Shop. It's our Beach Boys Bash. And another song I'd like to ask you about is a very beautiful song from the Holland album. This is one that mainly hardcore Beach Boy fans would know. And it's a song that Dennis wrote the music for, and you did the lyrics. A beautiful song called "Only With You."
Yeah, that was a really beautiful song. Really pretty. And Dennis wrote a lot of songs as well. He was, as well as Carl. I mean, the Wilson brothers, my first cousins, they're all musically gifted in their own way. Of course, Dennis and Carl have both passed away, but Dennis was a really powerful drummer and a lot of great energy on stage. But he got into some really emotional musical feelings and stuff.
True.
And so he asked me to write the lyrics for a piece that he was working on, and that turned out it's a pretty beautiful little song.
Yeah, Carl knocks it out of the park, with his vocal, and it's one of. If I had been your manager back then, I would have said, put that out as a single. That's just a beautiful, beautiful song.
Love so many things that I feel.
Now, this last song that I'd like to ask you about, Mike, is, well, I guess you could call it the new old Beach Boys single for this summer. It's going to be on the Made in California box set, a song that went unreleased until now, Goin To The Beach.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
It was recorded around the time we did Keeping the Summer Alive, which the song Keeping the Summer Alive was written by Carl Wilson along with Randy Bachman. And it had that taking care of business kind of groove to it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a great song. In fact, I don't know why we're not doing it. But maybe it's because it's not fall yet. But anyway, yeah, we recorded this song. I wrote the song, and Bruce actually produced it, called Goin To The Beach. We have all the guys singing on it. And it's really cool. These days out on tour, we do it in our encore. We come out and do Wild Honey, which is a rockin' song.
Sure.
And then Goin To The Beach, the newly discovered single that has been, it's been in the vault for many, many years, since like the late 70s.
Yeah.
And here it is. It sounds fresh, and it goes so well right into Surfing USA, So, yeah, it's called Goin To The Beach.
That's one of the heretofore unreleased tracks from the Beach Boys that you'll find on the Made in California box set coming out later this month. A song called Goin To The Beach. Mike Love is our guest. And, that's such a catchy song. Mike, that's another one. Had I been around, I would have said that should be a single.
You're right. It should have been. But I guess we recorded so many songs for that album. And at that time, that, we did that many times. We'd over-record. Like if you need 12 songs for an album, we'd record 18.
Right.
And so what that meant was not all of them got on the album, and some of them just got put in the archives. And on our box set, there's going to be a whole CD of just those songs that never got released, or maybe just the track of something or a different arrangement of something. So for the real hardcore Beach Boys fan, there's going to find some interesting things on that box set.
Yeah, it's going to be like getting 5 or 6 brand new Beach Boys albums in one shot with all the unreleased material on there. Yeah, well, Mike, I want to thank you so much for taking some time out and chatting with us. It's a thrill to speak to you. Maybe about 6 or 7 years ago, I spoke to Brian, and I'll say the same thing to you that I said to him, which is thanks so much for all the great work you've done over the years. And it's such an honor to have you on our Beach Boys special. And, we'll be looking for you on the East Coast. Well,
thank you so much. And it's been a pleasure to speak to you. I'm glad you're so, knowledgeable about Beach Boys music. And we're really looking forward to coming to Ramapo. I mean, I don't ever recall being there, but we love going places far and wide, large and small, and medium-sized too. And so I think there's going to be a good crowd out there. It sounds like there's interest in Beach Boys coming to Ramapo, and that's really great. And we really appreciate you doing this program and getting the word out on the Beach Boys, our new music, and the fact that we're probably going to keep putting out those good vibrations as long as we're capable of it.
Well, we hope that's a long, long time to come. All right. Thanks, Mike.
All right.